What's up everyone, my name is Mark Hawk and today we're taking a look at Sony's new HDR-AZ1. The AZ1 is kind of exciting because it's basically the same as the HDR-AS100, Sony's last sort of flagship camera, except it's about 35% smaller, it's about 33% smaller, something like that. But it features a lot of the same specs as the old camera. So we'll just quickly unscrew this here. I kind of already loosened it up a little bit. But we haven't actually had a chance to use it yet, but in the following video we will. So take this off the base here. Just use the little coin to get the one screw off. And then the same for the case. Now already I'm kind of excited because I don't know if you guys can see it, but there's that black strip on the bottom. And what that is it's sort of the tripod mount when you don't have the camera in the case. When I opened this up earlier just to charge up the battery a little bit, I didn't see this. I didn't see that sort of stand in the box and was kind of upset because I thought it was one of the areas Sony might have cut corners. Because this was one of my favorite parts of the HDR-AS100 because it allows you to film without being in this case, and the big benefit of that is you can get better audio quality when it's not being muffled in the underwater case. So having this on there right away is really cool. You'll notice they're going for the same sort of look as the HDR-AS100. This sort of sleek all-white design, kind of two-tone a little bit, especially with this bottom piece right here. So let's just move the waterproof case. We'll go over some of the big changes. So no longer is the record button in the back, it's on the top and it's at the center. So one thing that's really great about this is when you're going to go take a photo, when you press down on it, the camera's more likely to be centered right here. On the stands up real nice. But anyway, when you press it, it won't push the camera forward. And a lot of issues I had when taking still photography with the last camera is when I push forward, it would create motion blur. Now there's less likely since I'm pressing on the top. So we'll look at this camera right here. So we have our record and take photo button. We have a hold button here, which I'll assume prevents you from accidentally starting a recording. Man, this is a lot different. So the LCD screen is basically completely removed. We have this little screen here. We'll turn that on a little bit, show us exactly what it uses, but I don't know if you guys caught this, but on the front of the box it actually says the remote or the app for your smartphone is kind of required. And I'm going to assume that's how you're going to change a majority of the settings on this, which has me slightly concerned because Wi-Fi battery life can be a concern because, again, since we're dealing with a smaller camera, we're also dealing with a smaller battery life. Now that's kind of difficult to turn. I'm kind of hoping it'll just loosen up with this. Awesome. It's on there real nice. Take that off. It also kind of locks in the back here. There's no more mounts on the bottom, and by mounts I mean there's no more ports on the bottom. All the ports are going to be hidden on the back here, or actually in this door. So we'll get to that door in a second. But here we have our micro SD card, or you can use Sony's proprietary card if you choose to, though micro SD cards are way faster. And yeah, I'll show the card. Well, actually, the card I use for the Sony cameras, I'll put in the information section below. There's a kind of a specific card you need to get the top performance out of the Sony cameras, and yeah, I'll put that in the comment section below. If we open up this port right here, this is your micro B USB port. This is how you're going to charge the camera. This is also another way you can stream the information off of the camera. So if you wanted to not take your card out and just transfer it to your computer, you can do it this way. Now, this is actually going to go down, and then we'll open it up, kind of like an old style video camera. And this is where we're going to put our battery. So we got this little leash here. That way when the battery is down there, we can just pull it right out. You have your password for your Wi-Fi already built into here and stuff like that. So now if you're ever on the mountain, you all have my password. And oh, that's cool. You can probably use a QR scanner to connect to the Wi-Fi to the camera. That'll make it much faster than having to enter that code. So if you're not familiar with a QR code, basically your phone's camera will turn into sort of a barcode reader. You can scan this, and then you'll automatically be connected to the phone, to the camera with your phone without having to put in the password or anything like that. So that's kind of neat. Again, your battery is a little smaller this time. We have the stereo mic built into the front. We no longer have the dots. We just have these two little slants, which aesthetically doesn't really make a difference, and probably quality-wise keeps it on par with the last one. Again, we have the Carl Zeiss, I'm probably pronouncing that wrong, tessar lens. So it's the same lens we had in the last camera, and we're also having the Bion's X image processor. Again, it's another really good low light sensor. I think that covers all areas. There's a little speaker right there. Again, we have our LCD screen. We have our 2 ports in the back that are locked for the door. On the bottom, we have nothing this time around. This side is where the battery is housed. Yeah, that's pretty much everything. And if you guys want an up-close look at this, that's again for your tripod mount. And we'll put this in here. I didn't see any of the extra ports that are on the HDR-100 that would have you use some sort of the third-party accessories, but that's not really something I ever did use, so it's not too much of a loss. But you can also do live streaming from this, because that's what I was thinking, is like there's no way to sort of link into the camera. The only way I can think you can do it now is through the USB, and I don't really know how fast that is. So looking at the new case, again, we have our button center, which is great, again, for taking photos. It should avoid having motion blur, and it'll make putting and taking photos from the side of your head or on a tripod much easier. We have our lock button. You notice we'll have this sort of beveled lens again. The one thing that worries me about this beveled lens is generally when we go underwater, you want something with a flat lens, otherwise the caustics kind of reflect into the beveled lens and we get a very smudgy and blurry image, but we'll test that out, see how that actually works out in practice. Our tripod mount, however, on the bottom isn't centered. That is always something that kind of bugs me, but with the case being this small, I guess it's sort of what you have to do. We have our same sort of like little wire tether and stuff like that. And yeah, I mean, the only thing that really bugs me about this is this. But this thing is really small. So I wanted to bring up a few other Sony devices for comparison. So since this is a Sony focusing, we have our Sony PS Vita. This is the original launch one. So I want to give you an idea. It basically fits a little more than quarter of the screen. But what you guys are probably going to want to see compared to size-wise is the AS100. So you can see there's a noticeable size difference. If we put these two back to back, look at it, about the same width. Yeah, just about the same width. And the bigger ones on top. And if you want to look at length, let's see right there. Again, we're a little shorter inwards, and there's just a big amount of height difference and stuff like that. Sort of zoom in here for a second. Yeah, you can just notice right away there's just a really good shrink, which is really nice because, you know, the lighter you make this camera, the easier it is on your head. Now, looking at it compared to, let's say, the Hero 4 that just came out 2 weeks ago, you can see it's nowhere near as tall as the Hero 4. Width-wise, we're looking at about the same width. And it is a little longer in the front side. You can sort of see the lens creeping up over here. But it's fairly small. And then if you're comparing the AS100 to both of those, you can see the AS100 was taller, longer, and width-wise, they're all about the same. Let's look at it from the back here. Put the AZ1 in the middle. So you can see you can say the AZ1's just a little fatter. Yeah, actually, you know, let's check out the weight of these guys. So we'll start with the weight of the GoPro Hero 4 Black Edition with the battery inside of it. We're looking at about 3 ounces, but can we switch this to grams? Yeah, 86 grams with the battery installed. So we'll take this off, and that also includes the micro SD card. We'll look at the Sony AS100, again with the battery installed. We're looking at about 90 grams, and we're looking at the Sony AZ1 at 46 grams. Now this is without the battery. Again, yellow's for open. I'll put the prongs on the side here, push in with the arrow. So we're using the NP-B1, and again, NP-BY1. It's the purple series if you're ordering a bunch of these online. So we'll close this up. Snap's okay. And then now we'll put that on the scale. And 61 grams. So it's about what is that, like 23, 24 grams for the battery? I can't remember the initial weight, but yeah. So if you're looking to put this on a drone, it's remarkably 30 grams less than the Hero 4, just about, or about 25. And yeah, the Sony AS100 was again 90. So yeah, pretty light. Actually, really light. So the battery this time around is a little bit smaller. Their website claims it's going to push out about 2.5 hours worth of video coverage, but that's kind of hard to judge without actually testing it out. The last time around, my usual battery life was somewhere close to like 45 minutes to an hour. So as we unbox this guy, we'll go over some of the specs as well. Like I said, it does most of the same stuff the HDR100 did last time around. So we're looking at image stabilization is built in. We also have 1080p at 60 frames a second, 720p at up to 120 frames per second. You can do 480, but there's no increased frame rate this time around, so there's no real point to do 480 unless you're very severely limited on card space. You have an 11.9 megapixel camera. Photo quality last time around was good, but you're probably going to have a 16:9 image format. So something to keep in mind, it's not 4:3, which is something you might be used to if you're coming from the GoPro universe. You get this sort of nice wide angle perspective, but you just don't have as much top and bottom space. These are our quick clips. Again, the reason why I'm talking over this is because it's kind of stuff you would expect. You have your curved adhesive mount that would slide into, then you slide it in the case. Again, you have the built-in image stabilization, which was one of the better features last time around. The Sony HDR line of cameras is, in my book, well known for having the best low-light capabilities, and I'll be interested to see how this one holds up, especially considering it's smaller. I do believe it's using the same image sensor. We have the Wi-Fi on and off button here. And then you have all of your manuals, you have your quick guide and stuff like this. It's still in that same newspaper format that they've had in the past. However, you don't have to worry about losing that Wi-Fi sticker because now it's built into this camera. And we'll kind of go probably over in another video how to hook your camera up to the Wi-Fi. Or maybe we'll do it now. We'll also have the Sony Action Camera stickers, which is the first time I've ever seen these. So if you're a Sony Action Cam supporter, you now finally have a way to show it out on the mountains or on the trails, wherever you kind of take your action camera. So yeah, this just slides into here. Again, we have our nice little bubble lens, snaps in. It's matte black, so it's easy to find. No, it's not, but that's fine. It should stand out with the white body, unless you're in snow, then hopefully the black body. But it's actually kind of a nice, slick 2D design. It's kind of flat, you know, you don't have this, it kind of reminds me of what I kind of hoped the contour body would have eventually gone to. And you also have the buttons on the side to access your camera. So actually, let's turn this guy on and see what we actually can connect to when we're not hooked up to Wi-Fi. So we push this down, we pull up on this middle part, and it just sort of snaps off. This isn't going anywhere unless you rip it off. So we'll take this guy out, and micro USB cable, again, our sort of skeleton audio thing anyway. So let's try turning this guy on. We have our nice on-off button here. We got our normal jingle, and if you guys can't see this, it says the battery comes fully charged, which is pretty sweet. I actually never got around to charging it. We don't have a micro SD card in this yet, and then we do have the Wi-Fi. So Wi-Fi is a button on and a button off. Now it should be noted that there actually are two models of this version that you can get. I picked up the one for $250. I think this is a really good value, especially since it's so similar to this and smaller. There is a $350 version though that comes with. There's a $350 version that comes with Sony's little wrist remote. Now, for this time around, it's going to be very essential for changing the settings. In fact, I don't see a way at all for us to change the settings without either this or the phone app. All right, seem to be connecting. All right, so we're all hooked up to our new camera. Latency, so I'll go left, right, left, right. Yeah, it's responding pretty fast, unless we have no SD card here. We can go into our menu with this little top button here. Kind of hard to press, and then we can sort through all the different type of video modes. We switch to high quality, pro shot. I think that's the highest quality. We can disconnect it. I don't think this is the most intuitive menu. It's not hard to get around and stuff like that, but Could be better. I accidentally just turned the device off. Turn this back on, we'll see if it instantly reconnects. And then we ran into an error. So we'll have to resync it. Go to globe, go to camera and remote. We want to do a single camera. We have our Wi-Fi turned on, so we'll select that because that's the AZ1 we see right there. In a second, this will start beeping, but we've already connected it. But if it was beeping, you just hold down the Wi-Fi button for about 3 seconds and it'll chime, letting you know it's synced, and then it'll finish off. We can go up here and press the menu button, and then we can switch it to, let's say, video mode. And then once we're in video mode, we'll have to press the menu button again if we want to come in here and change the video mode options. So we'll change it to, we can do super slow motion, hyper shot, I guess it's for 120 frames a second. I'm just going to leave it at PS because I believe that's their max quality. And again, I keep almost pressing that bottom button. We can check out our information, we can swap the screen around, we can change this screen to high to low. This actually will last quite a while. I've run this out for an entire day and it's lasted me several batteries compared to the camera. It's actually pretty well made, it's pretty durable. It's waterproof up to a certain amount, though Wi-Fi again doesn't work underwater. So if you set your settings and you plan on going underwater, prepare to be committed to those, except, oh yeah, there's no button here to switch to photo mode, I guess. Maybe we'll mess around with that later. And yeah, our little screen's just telling us full battery life, Wi-Fi. Again, this seems pretty much required. I don't see a way around this other than using your phone app. So, but your phone app should work just fine. Yeah. The last thing I want to say, there's a new piece of software called the Action Cam Movie Creator that comes out for this camera. So in the past you were expected, I guess, to use Sony Vegas, which was not really my favorite program to use. I'm hoping Action Cam is a little better. If we do start playing around with that, we'll go more into that. I forgot to mention this thing also has GPS, which is nice for this small little body. 170 wide degree lens. Hopefully we can change the field of view, but when I was looking through the remote before, I didn't see any field of view options. Because sometimes when I'm filming 170 on the HDR-AZ1, it was actually a little too much. It felt like 170 plus 5 degrees in each corner, so it did a lot of distortion in the corner. But yeah, it's a smart little package at $250. It's definitely the right price. However, you do have to take into consideration you will need a remote or a cell phone to really operate this guy. Otherwise, you're going to have to set it up in Action Cam software and then probably use it as is the rest of the day. Which, if that doesn't sound like a deterrent to you, then I would go for this. We'll have a lot more videos on this. We'll compare it to a bunch of other helmet cameras. We're going to do some battery tests, comparisons, and stuff like that. It's going to be a lot of fun, and it's tiny. It's really good for getting under a helmet and stuff like that, or putting on the side of your head. It's not going to weigh your head down too much. It's a really nice weight. It's a really sleek design. I'm really digging this guy. Oh, one last thing is this guy's spinning. If you guys are deterred from using the Sony camera because of a lack of mounts, there is a company out there called Rec Mounts, and what they do is they create these little guys. What they do is they're basically designed to work with GoPro mounts. So obviously you see here I have my GoPro tripod mount. I can put my Rec Mount on here, bolt it in, and then I can use my Sony mount. So if GoPro's wide array of mounts kind of entices you, just keep in mind that you can use the Rec Mounts, REC, like record, to attach them to GoPro mounts. So keep that in mind. Also, if you guys need gear ideas, we have a list of a bunch of gear videos we're going to be doing throughout the holiday season. And if I've helped you guys out today, if you guys can consider making a donation or a tip to help me buy more cameras. But I don't have any of that set up for the month of October, and it's actually going to redirect you to a donation page for a friend of mine who was recently struck by a car, and he's kind of battling with a bunch of medical bills. Really awesome guy. You've actually probably seen a bunch of his videos on YouTube, so check that out. Guys, really appreciate the support, and thanks for stopping by. I'll see you guys out there.